Well, good morning. Here we are in the studio, the schoolhouse studio, with artist Maria Wolf and her newest quilt. And of course her companions here, Bud and Fate. So hi.
You're being very helpful. Hi, John.
What are we doing here today?
Welcome to my studio. I wanted to show everyone the piece that I'm working on, which is my Yoni Tree.
Well, this is the famous Yoni Tree.
So the backing is an old quilt top that someone gave me, and then I put this border around it, and I drew these different images on it from my Goddess, the Language of the Goddess book, and so they're in all the little squares. And then I started using these doilies, which I tea stained first, and I'm sewing them on to make my tree. This is the Yoni part, and this is, you know, about Yoni is a Sanskrit word for vulva, vagina, womb, all the female reproductive.
I'm learning that. I didn't.
And we have these trees, and if you start looking for them, you'll see them. We have plenty of trees that have vulva shapes in them, and I have a lot of them on my blog.
I just want to excuse me, there's some mayhem going on. What is going on back here? All right, ladies and gentlemen, can we stay calm here? Bud, that'll do. Maria's doing her pitch here. All right, quiet dogs. Let's go.
Behave yourselves, otherwise you have to go outside. Play outside. Yeah, so I'm sewing the doilies on, and I'm making the branches, and I just thought I'd show you a little bit of how it's all hand sewn, and I kind of just use the material. What's great about the doilies is they have so much texture, so you get the feeling. You really get the feeling of bark. They really lend themselves to bark. So what I would do here, like say you see here's this limb coming off here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it unevenly, and from this I'll make two branches. So one branch is going to go probably up there, and so I pin it kind of as I go, and then I sew it and kind of sew it into place and shape it as I'm sewing it, and it kind of works out. Like I said, the doilies really lend themselves to it.
Why is this Yoni stuff and vulva stuff so important to you?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things that is so important, it's like I really started doing them after the election, you know,
the election,
and just showing women's, I mean, the flying vulva, which I have some pot holders up there that I made.
Far cry from this, isn't it? Whoa!
Yeah,
there's a vulva. There's a vulva in there.
They all have flying vulvas. You see?
I don't remember that Snow White that I watched as a kid. Had a vulva
princesses.
There. I wondered about that.
I mean, it's a different time for women. You know, we're on the uprise again, and we're on the surge again, and it's another feminist movement is pulsing once again, and you know, that's, I mean, you can't ignore it. It's right there. So this is kind of my answer to you know what's going on in our country right now, and
well, it's about strength, I think, and becoming comfortable with yourself.
It's about power. It's about
not hiding yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
And I happen to be a great fan of vulvas. I think as you could probably.
Now you be very careful
probably
with
testify.
how you talk about
I
it.
just said I'm a fan of vulvas, so I appreciate them very much.
That's good, and you
that's
respect
all I have to.
them
That's all I
too.
have to say. I have no additional comment.
And you respect them too.
I
from
very
my
much
experience.
respect them. I very much respect them.
Yeah. So you know, this is where it's all coming from, and it's always been there. You know, it's always been there. So.
Well, good. So are you selling this thing?
Yes, I will be selling this thing.
You have a title? I don't know what to call it. It's a Yoni tree.
It's very simple. It's a Yoni tree.
It's a Yoni tree. Okay, it's a Yoni tree.
Yeah.
I shouldn't call it a thing. It's
See,
beautiful. It's very beautiful.
It's all about women.
It looks a a lot of fantasy in it to me.
Does it have that?
Yeah, it has a mystical kind of feeling
Oh,
to
well,
it.
that's
I
wonderful.
think this is very different than I thought it would be.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't know what you were talking about. I thought, I can't imagine how she's going to do this, but this is really beautiful.
Well, thanks.
I really get that. I really like this.
Also,
I really get it.
The materials really lend themselves to it, not just in the texture.
It's a very beautiful way of doing it. It kind of captures its power and beauty. And
but it's
look at all
this
the stuff in here.
The idea of the quilt is the women's.
What are all these symbols?
These are the goddess symbols. I told you about them. You weren't paying attention.
I was listening. I didn't know which goddess symbols.
These are from my book, the language of the goddess.
All right, I get
these are and then even just the materials, the quilt top. I mean, someone hand sewed this quilt top, you know, some women made these doilies. This is the work that women used to do. This is what was traditionally known as women's work. And it's the things that they were allowed to do, the creative work that they could do. And so every time I use these doilies, you know, I think of the women. I think of the women who made the quilt. I think of the women who made the doilies. And so they all really lend themselves, the materials lend themselves in a complex and layered way to the end product, which is an important part of my work.
Well, I think it's very beautiful.
Well, thank you, John.
I have to say, I didn't know quite what to expect, but I think I'm dazzled. Are you going to sell this?
Yes.
Do you know how much?
Not yet. I have to see how long it takes me, and you know, how long it takes.
Of course,
me,
the artist.
How much work
The artist does not like to.
I can't.
I believe and
I
understand. I'm
right
very
now.
careful about what questions.
I mean, my quilts.
Even to ask. Well, this is great. Faith, what do you think?
Faith's pretty happy.
Faith's really into this.
Yeah, she likes it.
She likes to get in the middle of everything. She wants to know everything that's going on. Faith, you were humiliated in a video this morning on YouTube by Bud, who herded sheep that you ran right past.
Well,
Look at you. She's looking at me. Yes, I'm talking to you. You're a useless dog.
Wants to go herd
And
sheep now.
Bud is going to show you how to be a border collie. This is very exciting. Hey, Bud. Hey, Bud. Hey, Bud. Yes, you good boy. Yes, happy Bud. All right, I'm sorry. That's what's
okay.
going on in
They're,
here.
you know, they're
Use it.
part
We got
of
to
it.
use it. We
They're
got to use
definitely
it.
part of it.
Well, I think this was a great video, and thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Thank
Bye.
you for